the tools are really important. They're certainly a part of the assessment, and it's really important to verify those aspects of being a carer, to make sure that people comply with those things. But it's a lot more than that. Really, assessment is based in forming good relationships with people, because it's only through having those relationships that you can really get to know somebody and they can open up. You can really understand who they are.
It was really empowering and comfortable opening up about not only the things I consider about myself and my family that would be a good fit, but also the things I was concerned about, my worries. You know, caring for children in any capacity makes you doubt your abilities, and we're all human. So I think as a carer, you do go through a bit of imposter syndrome stuff. Am I good enough? Do I have what it takes? Am I going to be able to handle this? And the more that you're open and honest about that with your assessor and the team you're working with, the easier it is to get that support, and they're able to help you figure out what they need to do to get you on board, or explore some things that come from your own family as well. But listening, as I said, listening before without judgment is crucial, to making that happen.
Assessment is really a reciprocal process. So we're getting to know somebody, they're getting to know what our expectations are and what's required of being a carer, and together we're going on a journey. And part of that process is working out whether this is a good fit for people, whether or not they're going to fit into being a carer and being able to provide care for children, whether it's going to work for their family. It's about them gathering information and us gathering information. I guess the key thing is that we're assessing from a child's perspective. We're looking at whether or not these people have the attributes to assist a child who is in need of care. We're not assessing whether somebody is a good person. We're assessing whether they're going to be able to meet the needs of a child who's been traumatised and who needs a specific type of care.
It's not just working out about what potential carers are good at and not good at. You know, you can have the biggest knowledge of childhood trauma and counselling skills and work in children's services or whatever it is, but it doesn't necessarily mean you make a great carer. And it's through exploring those attitudes and beliefs, those, you know, the things we bring with us throughout our lives and into this experience that need to be looked at. And that's the good and the not so good. And when it is the not so good, we need to be ready and comfortable to explore those things. The other thing about carers and people who go through this process, like I said before, they're human, and we all come with our own worldviews and life stories. And as an assessor, it really helped when my assessor helped unpack that stuff with me, especially about our family and the way that we were raised. And it makes you more aware of looking at it from the child's perspective, of you having those beliefs as a carer. And also the areas that, you know, we might need to work on or adjust when you're working with children with trauma.
Well, firstly, we can name them. If we're open and we talk openly about the attributes that we're looking for, and also about any concerns that come up, to raise those as they come up, to explore them as they come up, and to be respectful, I guess, in that reciprocal relationship, letting the person on the other side know where you're going with your thinking. This is perhaps an area I've noticed as a strength, or this is an area I'm a little concerned about, and asking some more questions in that area. And people are usually fairly aware of what attributes are their strengths and also where they may struggle a little bit, and that gives us some understanding too about matching with certain children, about perhaps training needs, those sorts of things. So I think naming it, talking about it, being open and upfront is the key.
I think the key message out of that as well, when we're looking at having a child-focused view of the world, is what happens when we don't explore and we don't talk about those concerns and strengths, is that the end result is we might be making poor decisions for the children in care. The thing I normally think of in that case is something like yelling or smacking. So
Yes.
they're quite big ones in terms of punitive attitudes and beliefs that we might have. And like I said before, it comes from our own upbringing. We do what we know. And by exploring those concepts, if you were raised in that kind of household and unpacking that with your assessor, you not only learn more about yourself, but you're learning about what the impact could be on that child of having that belief. There are also some cases where that worldview and attitudes and beliefs are quite concrete and probably won't change with any amount of training and support. And in that case, we have a serious problem, and we need to look at that for not only now during the assessment, but what that's going to be for the rest of the carer's journey and the children in their care, how that's going to impact them. Most people already know, but it's something good to be aware of, is you're going into someone's home and their lives, and a smile can go a really long way. And as I said before, being genuine, understanding that these people are nervous. You're going to be nervous no matter how confident you are in your ability. So just keep that in mind when, they stutter over their answers or it takes them a little bit longer. It's not because they're incapable. It's just pure human nerves. And the other bit on that I wanted to say, as assessors, you do make professional judgment calls, like Sally mentioned, but that gut feeling that you have about someone is only part of the puzzle, and as assessors and workers, we have our own worldviews that we bring into it. So just make sure that you're aware of your own biases when you're confronted with different things that the family is telling you.